sit on the couch, I open the book, and I go, fuck this.
I think your brain's a little mushy. We're all mushy. I read a good amount, but it's still it's tough sledding because I'm reading and but the third word, I'm like, what's that word mean exactly? Let me look it up, and I'm like Costanza.
I know.
It's very difficult. The ball's just sitting there, and I can't hit it.
Well, I feel like a flight I can do because I can't go anywhere anyway. So I'm like, all right, I got no Wi-Fi. I'm going to sit here and read this book, and it helps a little. But if I'm at home, I got the phone, the laptop, the wife's vagina. I've got food. I've got a soda water.
Well, we had this conversation years ago. I think it was in your old apartment episode, the old apartment. And this is my question. This is my therapy question to you. Why do you feel you need to be a reader? You could be a guy that doesn't read. You listen to a lot of podcasts.
I do.
And you watch a lot of YouTube.
I do.
You're taking in a lot of entertainment and information.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So you don't have to be a ready guy.
Well, every YouTube channel I watch where they go, what does every billionaire have in common? What does every entrepreneur have in common? Blah, blah. They all read. A lot of reading.
Hey, Gary here. Welcome to Book Mob episode 49. Today, it's going to be a quick and short one, but today I'm going to place a bet on who I think will win this year's 2024 Booker Prize. The shortlist, which is released in July, the problem is I've only read 3 of the 5 novels chosen. However, the reason the one that I've picked to win, I think is going to win regardless of how well the other 2 books that I haven't read will do. Now, the thing is, I have managed to obviously research the 2 books that I haven't read, just to give, to get an idea of what they're about and who wrote them. Anyway, this year's top heavy with female writers. I think 4 of the front runners are all female, and the only male writer is Percival Everett, who's brilliant and engaging and really fantastic novel, James, which I just finished. And I want to say that I think James will definitely win this year's Booker Prize 2024, which I think is drawn, let me get the proper date, the Booker Prize drawn on Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. So already we're getting close. It's, what's the date today? 24th of October. So another couple of weeks and we'll know the winner. So also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a $50 bet on a betting forum. Now, my usual betting forum for various other bets, I like to bet on art and politics, is not, for some reason, I haven't yet seen the odds for this year's Booker Prize. I have used the sports bet a couple of times in the past for betting on the Booker Prize, and I've never won a Booker Prize bet, and I'm always cocksure that the one I pick is going to win, and I still feel the same way today. If you're unaware, okay, James, this novel is it's not a reinterpretation. It is just a succession. It's part of the Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, 150 years separate the literature, and I think because of America's current, I don't know, there seems to be a sort of a looming ambience of weirdness over this current election, over the coming election in 5 November 2024. Now, I think that he's not. I mean, Percival Everett, he's not going to win purely because he's writing about he's taking on an American sort of canon. Obviously, you and I know the political and social and the problems with Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. It exists because it was written and it's been around for 1860. I can't remember the exact dates. And what I'm saying is that, yeah, the language and the topics, slavery, Though on the other hand, the fact that people still read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer today is a measure of the collective joy that people get from storytelling, from great stories. Regardless of the some of the sort of vicious sort of attacks I have read from academics, particularly academics who have a focus on who focus everything on race, and that everyone who reads these books if you read this and you think like this, well then yes. I mean, it's just amazing how storytelling is just thrown out of the window. Now, Percival is a second. This is his second nomination for the Booker Prize 2024. Can't remember the first one. And to tell the truth, this is my first Percival Everett book that I've read. I've never heard of him, but he's got. I mean, the guy is like he's got a plethora of works, and I just think what is my reason, my rationale is okay. I enjoyed the book, funny, scary, weird. Totally worth a read. I mean, it's one of those books that it crosses all. Yeah, it does. I guess that's what the Booker does. The Booker Prize presents you with novels that, not all the time though, but generally they present you with a novel that says, take a look at this, because it crosses so many genre boundaries. It crosses ages. It crosses the cultural landscape. And that's what makes the Booker Prize so special, is because you've got a whole bunch of novelists looking at a bunch of novels and trying to say, what is the novel that tickled the cultural fancy at that very point in time. Now, I remember, I think previous winner that where is it? I've got here somewhere. Oh, damn, I can't. Oh, yeah. Did this win? Let me just check, because before I go that, I want to make sure, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to find out that my memory is totally and utterly Ducks Newberry. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this book, this is in 2019 now, I remember. This book was shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and I made a Ducks Newberry by Lucy Ellman. I did make a bet on that one, and I lost out. And the reason I chose that, because of its very, very strange and sort of mundane. It's dense as anything, but it's got this sort of really sort of painful narrative that's very high. I mean, you just got to keep going. It's like the stream of consciousness, but to the extreme. And I found it very difficult to read. And I mean, I wanted to give up on it many times. However, I used this. I thought, yeah, this is kind of experimental. Maybe the Booker Prize is going to give it to this writer in order to promote, literature, hard literature, demanding literature, challenging literature. But they didn't. So anyway, now back to Percival Everett's James. So it basically tells the story. It doesn't tell the story. It's a story in motion, and it's almost as if you're thinking about the past, a story set in the past, but it's written in from the present view of how African American slaves, and in this story, they have to. It's almost like the slave owners, the white people, are totally unaware of, and I guess they were in the real world, but he takes it to the extent that the intelligence and smartness and intellectual power of all these people, all the slaves and the other black people in the community, have to hide their intelligence. They have to pretend to be banal and mundane and slow. And basically, the idea is that all this, they, for whatever reason, they wanted the white people to be lulled into this idea that, yeah, they were what these white people thought they were. But the story itself is great. I mean, it's really well written, and I would suggest that it could be read by 18 to 99-year-olds for sure. And that's why, like I said, I think it's going to win the 2024 Booker Prize, and I'm going to put a $50 bet on that. And even though I don't know the odds, because I haven't seen the odds, because SB hasn't put up the odds for this year. So if I don't find it, I'll have to go somewhere else and see if I can find. But the thing is, with betting things, I don't want to download another app and go through the whole process. I just don't understand why the Booker Prize hasn't come again upon the SB app. Anyway, aside from that, that's. I love reading and I love books, and I like to put my money where my mouth is. And so if I put $50 on James for the 2024 Booker Prize, I might get a windfall and be able to buy 10 books. Who knows? So the other books are Samantha Harvey, Orbital, Creation, Lake, Rachel Kushner, Held by Anne Michaels, The Safe Keep by Joel van der Wunden, Dutch. And we have one Australian author in the final 5. It's called a book called Stone Yard Devotional by Charlotte Wood. And that's one of the books I haven't read, but it's about a woman who escapes to, and I will read it now because it does sound interesting. It's about a female character who escapes to the plains of mid New South Wales, which is a state in Australia, and how she becomes part of a Christian religious cult, and there's a mouse plague, and apparently her sister's. Her sister had died, decades before, and no one knew where she was, and they found her body. So it sounds like a really, really interesting story. And perhaps maybe that'll be good enough for the Booker Prize. But I can't go back on what I've said about James. I really do think James is going to be a great bookend for the political and turmoil of 2024. And I think that Percival Everett, who, again, like I said, he has had another novel up for the Booker Prize. I did research, but I can't remember the date. They just go come and go. All I know is that this is his second effort to be picked for the Booker Prize shortlist, and I'm hoping that people will find, again, when you go to the book, anyone who wins the Booker Prize, they tend to suddenly, even the shortlist, of course, but the one who wins, they just put a stamp on it, bang, and they just flood. The distributors just flood the reading market, and I do think that the Booker Prize still has the power to draw readers, non-readers or hesitant readers or lazy readers, and out of those thousands upon thousands of books, how many people will actually read the book? Hey, that's anyone's guess. But again, even if it wasn't on the Booker Prize, I would still highly recommend Percival Everett, James, as a fantastic story, brilliantly written, just so easy to get into and such a fun read. And I, go from the beginning to end quickly. I read it in, I think, 2 days, if that. But that's me. I've got a lot of time on my hands and I like to read. But this is like a 5-day, an easy 5-day read for the non-major reader. And other than that, let's hope by the 12th of November, I'll be a rich man from my $50 on Everett for James for the Booker Prize of 2024. Well, that was just excellent. I'm just reading book 2 of Lindsay Ellis's. I don't know if you've. Where's the first one? Oh, here we go. There's 3 of these books. Science fiction about aliens who are already on Earth and how the government has like an alternative history because in this book, Dick Cheney's the president. But anyway, the first one was okay. Second book, struggling through, it's something about it. It just doesn't capture me. So I'm really struggling. Actually, I wrote a note on here a couple of days ago when I was losing my mind over, I don't know, if I wanted to keep going on, what did I write? Let me see. I'll find it because I think it's important to look back on your yeah, here we go. So I wrote, I make these notes while I'm reading if I'm getting the whole story is frustrating. The history of the aliens and the relationships is totally banal and confusing. it's just, and I said, it's just extremely boring and difficult. And it's so boring indeed, I simply do not think I can keep reading it. I'll try again later. And that was only on the 22nd. Today's the 24th, so I tried 2 days later and I got further on. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh because sometimes, And the third one, the third novel is here. And I don't know if I'll get to it. It's coming close to the end of the year and there's so many other books I've got to get to. I started reading Dan Simmons' Drood, which is about Charles Dickens. And this is a great... this is a great story about Charles Dickens as like a creepy sort of murder. Well, I was going to say he was like a Jack the Ripper, but he's not Jack the Ripper in the sense. But he explores Jack the Ripper's worldview, in the mist and of London, in the horrible places where no one wants to go. Stephen Fry's his fourth book, The Odyssey, from the Troy and Heroes and Mythos. This is The Odyssey, so I'll have to get through that. So loads of reading to go. What else is there? Olaf Stapleton, yeah. So books. Let's keep reading. All right, thanks for joining in and thanks for watching. If you're still here, please like and subscribe and send me messages. I think you can send messages to Gmail with bookmob66@gmail.com. If you're interested, you could write in and say, oh, can you do these books, or can you tell us about this, or whatever it is, just let me know. Have a great weekend and have a great week, have a great year, and I'll see you on the next episode, and hopefully by November 12th I'll be $50 plus the odds richer. Thanks. Bye-bye.